Hey, good morning. Hope you're doing great. Hope you're having a wonderful day. It's the first day of the rest of your life. Let's make the most of it. Hello, Robin Smith. I did not know there was such thing as Gainesville, Texas. I know Gainesville, Georgia, and Gainesville, Florida. Galena from Boise, Idaho. And I don't know who else is joining us. Tell us hello. Tell us good morning. It's a small start to a big day. No, we're going to talk about small beginnings today. But every time you get on social media, YouTube, a virtual event like this, it always starts small. And the biggest, you know, result is always in the amount of the replays. And it's not always those that watch it live, it's those that watch it later. So I'd love for you to do one thing right now. I would love for you to tag people in the comments here, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, it doesn't matter. Tag people and let them know this event's happening and they can watch it later. They don't have to watch it right now, okay? So let's dive in. I want to start with this, not because I'm promoting this, but because it's what has me thinking along the lines I'm thinking right now. And that is Trey Bowden. He said, and my daughter Hope said, what would you tell yourself if you were 20 years old and starting over again today? So you can scan that QR code and watch the full episode. But I talked about 11 things that I would do for sure that I've learned if I started over. Things I would make sure that I did today. And it really made me think about the small beginnings that created the business we have today. Yeah, I didn't plan on doing this, but I'll tell you another story about Jay Martin, our founder. It was his 82nd birthday this past Sunday, 82 years old. Good morning, Dee and Rhonda and Carol. So Jay was 82 years old this past week. And, you know, when he started this business, he didn't dream of a multinational global billion-dollar business. Never even, I don't think that ever crossed his mind. But he started in direct sales, telling the story of his life and the product he was selling and how it would change lives. Started out with pots and pans in college. You want to hear a small time? He decided that his marketing tool was to remove the hood ornament from his Ford Falcon and replace it with a pan, a saucepan, pot, frying pan, whatever he welded to the hood of his car instead of the normal car's hood ornament. Because that's what he did. He had small dreams, small visions, pay the bills, sell a few items, and look at where we are today. All 50 states, 26 countries. The most researched nutrition product in the world. You know, when Lori and I got started, here's what I want you to hear. Yes, we started small, but I think everybody has to start at a place where they have the capacity to believe they can move forward. If someone had told Lori and I and showed us how to make $10,000 a month, 6-figure income, insurance, expense allowance, benefits day one, we probably would have, literally been afraid to move forward. We would have probably frozen. But instead of somebody that shared this business with us telling us that, they told us a version of this business where there was an entry point and a beginning that we could believe. We had the capacity to believe, So we didn't see the bigness of what was to come. We didn't see that. But we also didn't see a limit to what we could do. We just saw that we were willing to step into a place and start. So as you're sharing this with other people, maybe even yourself right now, if the next step is the next customer or the next phone call, that's a necessary step into you becoming a national marketing director. Or that's the necessary step into you creating that reliable, faithful income you want that comes in month after month after month. Small things make big results. And that's Lori and I back then. But that on the right, that's a mom and a child today looking at this business and seeing a place of entry that they believe in. You know, um, maybe it's maybe it's entitled, maybe it's just our culture, but I'll remember many times with my kids, especially one or two of them that I can remember, there'd be a concert coming into town. And I'm like, maybe they want to go. And I was going to try and get tickets, but they knew Dad was connected. Dad had a network. Dad seemed resourceful. And they didn't come and say, Dad, can we go to the concert? They came and said, Dad, can you get backstage passes to Taylor Swift or whoever was in town? And it's like there was an expectation. There was an expectation that they wanted the big event without them having to do the things necessary to get there. There was no small event. There were no small steps. It's like I want it all now. And Dr. Tim Elmore, who some of you should have heard speak at a prayer breakfast in the past, he's the founder and president of Growing Leaders. He's one of John Maxwell's 5 main executives in the John Maxwell Company. He wrote the book Generation IY. Hope interned with him one summer. And he talks a lot about we have a generation that's never not had Google. We'll be talking soon about a generation that's never not had a chat GPT robot, but they've always had instant access to the answers. And that makes them want to skip over the small events that I think are the key critical point to having the big results. And I'm going to get to stick with me here, because at the end, I'm going to give you some key steps that I believe are important in you moving forward with small events to create the big results that you want. This is one of my favorite quotes when I get tired and frustrated and I see people out in front of me. How many of you see people that you don't think are any better than you, whether it's on the pickleball court, the golf course, in Juice Plus, in their exercise regimen, or whatever it might be, that you see that are out there, that they're achieving more than you, but you wonder why? You like, why them and not me? Does that ever cross anybody's mind? I'd love to see a few of your hands raised. Can you all just give me a thumbs up? Do you ever wonder why other people are successful more than you and maybe you're not? And this is always the quote. And this quote, there are two people. I always like to give credit to the right person, but I didn't put it down because it's either Christopher Morley or Zig Ziglar. They both have taken credit for this quote. But big shots are only little shots who kept on shooting. Big shots are only little shots who kept on shooting. I love that statement. I love the illustration that I heard this weekend. I was on a men's retreat, and it relates to this. It's perseverance. It's fighting through the things that are blocking you, that are the successful versus the not successful. But it's a small start. And we were in the mountains of North Carolina, beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains. I mean, literally felt like you had left civilization and gone to God's creation, a little piece of heaven for a moment. And there were streams coming down out of the mountain, little streams, like a brook, you might call it. what is it? A brook, and then a creek, and then a stream, and then a river, and then I guess a lake, and then an ocean, in terms of size of bodies of water. And 23-year-old kid. Amazing guy. These are like 400 of the most powerful men of faith in our country. And I've been blessed to be included in that group for about 30 years. But every year, some of them bring their sons. There's some emerging new leaders that are there. And there was a 23-year-old. His name was Jack. And he shared and gave the blessing at one of our meals, and he was introduced. And he said, something amazing happened to me this morning. I don't know if you all ever do this, but he said, I hiked up the mountain a little ways, having a quiet time, really wanting to hear from the Lord. And I'm sitting there and I'm staring at the water, looking at the stream. And I guess I wanted an answer, but instead God clearly gave me a question. I'm sitting there in the babbling brook, the beautiful sound, the sound of putting a tent by a creek, and it just sings you to sleep at night. And the question that was given to him was, what gives the water its voice? Think about it. What gives the water, that babbling brook, what gives it its voice? Because you can look at a pond or a lake or water just sitting there. It's pretty much a silent thing. But he heard the babbling brooks, and the question God put before him was, what gives water its voice? And then he thought about it, and he looked at the water and listened. And then just like God gave him the question, in his spirit, obviously, maybe he spoke out loud to him. I don't know. He didn't say he did. But the answer he got was, it's the obstacles. It's the rocks, the sticks, the turns, the shallowness and the depth of the soil. It's the obstacles the water has to overcome consistently that give it its voice. And that's what a big shot is. It's a little shot who kept being willing to go over the obstacles, around the obstacles, through the obstacles, just like the water does until it reaches the ocean. And then it splashes in with a grand entry. So big shots are little shots who kept on shooting. A great example is David and Goliath. We all know that story, don't we? Whether you learned it in Sunday school or you've just heard it as an illustration. But most people think that David just got this lucky shot and God ordained, and pow, it popped him right in the forehead, and the 8-foot-tall giant was slayed by the little boy. But guess what? How many shots? Well, before David confronted Goliath, do you all know what he did? He was a shepherd. There's so many lessons there. If you want to know a great book to read, it's Shepherds, They Smell Like Sheep. It's a book about what a great leader. He's using the example of the shepherd as a leader. Excuse me. And letting you understand that the leader, the shepherd, is amidst the sheep. But it's a great book to read. I just want to tell you that. It's a side story. But David was a shepherd. And guess what he had done over and over and over again is he'd used his slingshot against the wolves, the foxes, the predators of the sheep that he cherished and guarded. He had practiced. Over and over again. So when the time came for his big shot, he was ready. But it's because he took so many little shots that he was ready for the challenge. We need to have an attitude of gratitude, I believe, and be grateful for the small starts. But, I talk about Tommy Newberry's quote, tomorrow changes today. But you know what creates that huge, if you visualize that tomorrow, if you're in our Best Year Ever program, you have a tomorrow in January that you pictured as your December 31st picture of where you wanted to be. And whether you're on track to get to that huge tomorrow or whether you're in the battle and still plugging away, or maybe you're behind the 8 ball. It's the small things you do today, they're going to make that tomorrow happen or not happen. If you're going to have that huge tomorrow, you have had a lot of small todays, I promise. One of those could be today. This past week, I've had Montana, Australia, Orlando, Texas, Washington State, just small things that happen, small todays that are creating huge tomorrows. More coming to conference. Your CEO and I'll tell you about that in a minute. So small todays create those huge tomorrows. So I want you to know that you have to start small in order to win big. You can't go into the concert. The first thing you don't ask for is a backstage pass. You need to get in the door first. You need to get your foot in the door and get started. You know, one of the things in our business that you can do and that we teach you to do and that was easier to do before the new generation decided to lock up their tongues and communicate with the world with their thumbs, we used to talk to people. We actually used to use the phone to talk on. Can you imagine that? Some of you that are my daughter's age and younger, can you believe that we actually used to use the phone, that its primary function was to talk to another human being? Now we think about the purpose of the phone is what app will it hold? How well will the camera work? We still call it a phone. How well will the camera work? How well does the keyboard work? How fast can I type? Will it correct my mistakes? Can I dictate my text into the phone? Can I talk to the phone, not talk to a human, and it put text that I can send to a human? That's the world we live in. But do you know that if you would decide in today's world, let's have a paradigm shift. This may seem ridiculous or profound to some of you, but if you want to build a huge business the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to buck the trend of AI and technology replacing humans, and you're going to see that our business meets just an innate human need of relationships when the world only wants to shove transactions in its face. Our business meets a need for human relationships in the world of entrepreneurs, in a world where technology and advancement and shortcuts and laziness and a lack of drive and an entitlement mindset wants to secure the transaction and pushes the relationship aside in order of efficiency. I love Chick-fil-A. I'm Truett Cathy, the founder, mentored my kids at camps. I was with someone on their executive leadership team this weekend, and we talked. I said, it hurts me to see the restaurant becoming like a racetrack where people just do laps around the drive-through. When I used to see moms and kids and men inside having a meal, sharing a conversation with a Bible open or kids on the playground. And he said, it's coming back. The worst thing we ever did was take playgrounds away from our restaurants. He said, they realize that they too gave in to the transactional desires of profit. And probably what COVID drove us to a little bit. But they gave into that, and they realized that they were a company that was built on relationships. It was the highlight in the community that where place. Yes, food was served, but they served the community as priority one, and that's going to come back. It's part of their new vision and messaging. You're going to hear a lot of what's coming back from Travis too at our conference in Indy. But you can borrow your mentor's wisdom and go out and do this business instead of your small beginning being your learning curve and going to Juice Plus University. It's that three-way call. I got off on a tangent. But if you're willing to use your tongue and speak verbally on your phone to other people, or get on Zoom. I think a three-way phone call is so underutilized because it's easier to schedule than getting somebody camera ready. Some people are so in need of vanity's the wrong word. I guess it's a version of vanity, but there's a vanity that's there that they won't cross into that Zoom camera barrier until they're ready. So it creates a whole nother layer to scheduling. Okay. So um, I want you to know that if you're going to build this business out of the gate and you want to start small, you can be small, but if you bring in the wisdom and expertise of your mentor, they will walk down this road with you. They'll speak for you while you learn, and it will let you start small with a small amount of knowledge, a small amount of confidence, a small amount of experience, but you import the experience of your predecessor who started small, but they're no longer small. They have a big vision. They've got a track record. They have a way to validate the journey you're on. So use that to your advantage. You know, small beginnings to me are the building blocks of dreams. We could say dream tomorrow, your why, as Simon Sinek would say. It's your reason. It's not the title of NMD or sales coordinator or 100 Club. It may be what you verbalize, but it's not the real reason you're in this business. The real reason you're in this business is because of what you see that this business can do to further the life you want to create. You see, I wrote that book called Make a Life, not just a living. I didn't write the book for profit. I wrote the book to get a message out. And the message is invest yourself in making a life, not in creating a paycheck. Uncover your dream and pursue it. And if what you do to create a paycheck stops that, then create a paycheck a different way. Create a paycheck where you don't trade hours for dollars your whole life. Start small. You don't have to give up your career, quit your job, mortgage your house. Our business gives you an entry to start small, but the small beginning doesn't limit the size of what you can build. You know, there's that story, and I wish I need to go back and research. Hope maybe you could make a note. Maybe you and Trey and I could do some research. But who first told this story? And I've heard different versions of it. But I've heard a couple, so I'll use a couple. It could be an individual, a couple, a group. They're on a walk in a new area, and you know how when you see bulldozers and tractors and equipment and like where we live now at Lake Oconee, it's exploded since COVID. But pre-COVID, it was a place of lake homes and second homes, 9 golf courses, a great Ritz-Carlton, and all the fun stuff that a lake offers. It was a vacation place for people. But now it's where people live. It's where they've planted their roots, and it's expanding and growing and exploding. And we moved down here about 6 years ago now, right before the 2020 election. We moved down here right before COVID, full time. And everywhere you turn, there is a piece of land. The trees are gone. I mean, Publix, we have the second busiest Publix in the United States down here. And to keep Kroger and the other grocery stores out, they're building 2 new Publix. There'll be 3 Publix within a 10-mile stretch so they can own the market. And it's amazing. 1,500 homes being built for people here to be the support community to live here. And this is a charter school. It's crazy. Anyway, sorry, I got sidetracked. But when you see that, this couple was walking and they saw this explosion of construction and growth and wonder what's happening here. And curiosity got so much a hold of them that they walked over nosy and asked the construction worker, "What are you doing?" He said, I'm laying bricks. He had blocks in his hand, laying bricks. That didn't tell him very much. It was pretty obvious. They had a brick in their hand, they're laying bricks. So they keep moseying around. Curiosity is just killing them. And they go to the next person they see, and they says, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm building a wall." He was still laying bricks, but in his mind, the bricks he was laying were doing something more. They were building a wall. Still didn't satisfy their curiosity and their degree of nosiness. And they asked the next person that was laying bricks further down the road or up the hill or wherever he was. He was like almost so glad they asked the question, "What are you doing?" And he paused and he stopped, and almost like an orator, a pastor in the pulpit, he says, "I am building a cathedral. You see, look behind me." And he explained what was about to happen. And the moral of that story is all of us have to lay bricks. But in your mind, what are you building? You know, if you started and your focus was on constructing the stained glass, you're really never going to get that cathedral built. You must master the small element that's repeated over and over and over and over again. You got to find the brick. Are you building your house of sticks or stone or bricks or mortar or metal or steel? And master that task. And there's definitely a brick in our business. It's people. But it's more than that, and I'll explain in a minute. But you have to realize you're building a business of an army of people, not an army of a bottle of pills. The bottles of pills are the mission of the army. And I say bottles of pills, it's inspiring healthy living, but I'm making a point here. It's people, not pills, that are the building block of what you want to build. And I want to give you just some, if you were going to, we're going to have to put on events. We're going to have to gather these people together. We're going to have to get a message in front of these people in order to build what we want to build. And I want to give you this, and this, if there's one, maybe if there was one thing you wanted to screenshot or take notes on, it might be this slide, and Hope might be able to put this image in the chat for you. I don't know if she's can do that, but you can screenshot it. But there are 4 stages. If you were going to, what I want you to think about is, I want you to think about leaving Indianapolis if you're going. I want you to think about, if you're not going, making plans. What are the small things? What are the small events that you need to plan to create the big results you want to create? I know I shifted gears on you quick, going from dreaming and small to big. But conversations, events, people, not pills. And how do we get the people? Okay, Hope says she can't put images in the chat. So maybe I'll go in and get a like a Dropbox link to the image and send it to you later. So if we make that transition, it's not pills, it's people. Small things create big things. I remember my 3rd day in the business, I did my own first event. So I want to talk to you about what you need to be doing right now to get this on your calendar. I want you to make the 4th quarter, October, November, December of this year, the best quarter you've ever had in your business. But you're going to have to do small things to create big results. So let's talk about all these events we can do. So when you're planning events and you're doing events, some of them are going to be events you put on. Some of them are going to be events put on by others or put on by the company. But what you need to know, whether you're putting on the event or you're utilizing the event, who is supposed to attend? You've got to define who the audience is so you know who to invite. Okay, so on the left, we're going to talk about stages. On the right, I brought in 3 categories of events. The core 4, healthy living, prevention plus, inspiring healthy living. I like to say inspiring healthy families around the world. The product, the wellness, the message of health, healthy living is one type of event that would be really driven towards everybody seeing the product as something they need to consume as a customer. Another type of event would be a business event where the main message that comes across is we've got a business that if you pour yourself into it, you can stop trading hours for dollars and do and be what you're called to be. That's a business, that's an opportunity event. And then a third type of event is for those that are already engaged to train them, equip them, to edify them, to make them better for the journey. So you've got to define the audience. So which of those three types of events are you putting on? And that helps you define the audience. And then the second thing you want to do is once you know who you're inviting, you have to craft the invite. And this is, I think, part of the struggle that's happening today post-COVID maybe. But people don't want to be herded into a hotel ballroom anymore to hear a dog and pony show. But you know what? They'll watch a virtual event that you invite them to, that you need to follow up and engage with them. And I've also found that if you have a relationship with somebody, an invitation into your living room, maybe to gather and talk and watch a video, or maybe as you'll see in the future, we're going to be beaming more and more. We're going to be beaming more and more as a company and as leaders. We're going to be beaming more and more events out there for you to do what we call, for lack of a better term, a watch party. Something's happening outside your home that's powerful, amazing. The speaker doesn't live next door, but you're inviting people that are important to you over to hear somebody on the big screen in your house that's important to you. And we're going to have food, drink, and fellowship together while we watch it. So you craft the invite. What are you inviting them to? If they feel like it's a dog and pony show in a ballroom, they're not coming today. That's not what people want to come in here. They want to come and hear what's important to you in a more intimate environment, or they want a teaser or a taste with information in an online Zoom event to see if they're interested. So you craft the invite to the right audience. And then we used to say call, send, call. That was before everybody's thumbs replaced their tongues. We're gonna bring back the tongue. It's the most powerful muscle in the body. Even though you may think it's not, pound for pound, it's the most powerful muscle in the body. It can get you in the most trouble and it can do the most good. You have to control the tongue. The Bible talks a lot about that. But we used to say, remind them. We used to say, call, send, call. You send out the invite. You let them know it's coming. You send it in the mail. You call, hey, I want you to come to this. It's amazing. I'm going to send you a flyer. I'm going to text you a flyer. I'm going to send you a link. I'm going to send you a form you can RSVP. And you send it. And then you call and remind them to come. Because you don't know where people are in their busyness of life. But I know there are people that I know that they're so organized, they beg to get something on their calendar months, weeks in advance. Some of them will show up because they did that and they really are that organized. Some want you to think they're that organized and they celebrate that they're busy. You know, Paul told the church at Thessalonica when he was rebuking them for their lack of living the way they should as believers, they said, we're busy. Look how busy we are, Paul. And he says, yeah, you're busy, but you're busy about the wrong things. You're not accomplishing what you're called to accomplish. So some people would just want it on their calendars because busyness is a crown for them. But some really are that scheduled and they'll be there if they plan it in advance. But you have those also on the second half, that call, send, call, the last one. I have people in my life that the best time to invite them to something is an hour before it starts. And if they're free, they'll come. Because if I invited them earlier, they would totally forget that it ever happened. Even if they wrote it down, it would end up in the crack in the seat in their car with food and ketchup and kids' stuff spilled on top of it, you know, because that's the stage of life they're in. That's how they run their life. And I'm not complaining. I'm just saying If you just call them or post it and they will come, it's not going to work. It's call, send, call. It's remind them. It's not just tell them once. And then you have to figure out, how are you going to voice your message that evening at that event? Is it piping in a speaker on your or video, or zooming in someone on your screen? You know, people don't utilize me enough for this, or even a Jan Roberto or our doctor say, hey, Kurt, if I got 6 or 8 or 10 people over to my house, would you share your story and really the power of what it means to be able to make a life, not just a living? I know so many people are struggling. Would you talk about how that first small step of $1,000 a month was what drew you in, and then seeing and believing in Jay and his vision is what made you make a commitment? If I got 10 or 12 young couples to come over, could you share that? Yeah, I can't be there, but I can do it on Zoom. Great. How are you going to voice your message at the event you're attending? What's the method that message is going to be voiced? Is it live? Is it video? Is it virtual? It doesn't matter, but you got to figure that out. You got to voice your message, and stories. Your story is important. If you're hosting it and you're inviting people, your story is important. And at the end of that meeting, there has to be a call to action. When you look at the purpose on the right, if you had asked me to speak to what's the health journey and the struggle that men and families and dads and granddads see and face in our culture today, the call to action would be, they need to understand the Healthy Starts program. They need to understand how they can order and flood their body with fruits and vegetables. Or maybe it's to see the path for paying $52 and being on a 90-day mission, journey, strategic plan for their business to reach the top commission level and get $2,000 to $3,000 in commission in their pocket really quick. But you need a call to action at that event. There needs to be a clear call to action. And then whether they watch it live or they watch a recording or they don't make a decision that night, the fortune is still in the follow-up. The real wealth you're going to build is not in the instant reaction. It's in how well you do it following up. And those can be three-way calls. They can be your personal interaction with those people, but that's where the real fortune is. So hopefully you've taken a screenshot of this, but you need to be doing lots of these. And my hope is there are going to be lots of events that are going to happen right after this Indy conference. At 1 o'clock on that Monday, the 29th, I'll be doing a live event. I think I've got a slide for that coming up. Well, first of all, there's some new podcast episodes. There's a brand new one that's out, but we're going to record the next podcast episode on the Monday right after Indianapolis. And I am going to have live on Facebook, YouTube, and on my audio podcast, Dr. Tamara Sachs, who is going to be a part of the company's medical team to launch our new product. And it's a breakthrough. I mean, it's us launching with the prowess, research, commitment to quality of the Juice Plus company. It's us launching into a new category of health that's in the $100 billion of sales in the world today. And it's projected to be the fastest growing segment of the wellness and nutrition industry between now and 2030. So I can't tell you more, but if you want to make sure you get a reminder about this call with details, you can text the word new product. Hope, does that have a space in it? I didn't know keywords could have a space. But Hope can maybe put a comment in the text. So if you it says if you text new product to that number, our text messaging platform, 478-377-7701, you'll receive a reminder the day of that event. But maybe Hope can check. And we'll make sure that new product without a space also works. So yes, Hope just put it in there. It's a typo on the slide. that, you know what's interesting is like, it's so fun that I can just like correct that, I think, right there. And yep, there you go. Shoot. That's just, I didn't say the bad word. I said shoot. I did not say the bad word. So that was easy to get fixed for you guys really quick there. I think I can slide. Why is that not sliding up? Anyway, so that's going to be text new product to that number and you'll be able to get a reminder. And that's going to be really good about the new product because what I want you to do is I want you to think about what kind of event can you host in October to be a part of telling those you care about the new product. And there'll be lots more calls. Loretta Wilkins is going to do one. She's a holistic coach. She's amazing. She has 31 new team members in the last 30 days. Put it that way. That's how successful she is in our business right now. And that's like under her, not under another sales coordinator. I mean, it's like in her immediate team, and she has 48 coming to conference. So she's a John Maxwell leadership coach. She spoke on our Best Year Ever halftime, but she's going to do a watch party event that we'll have details about really soon, so you can all know about that. Why is that not moving? Anyway, okay. Next, I want you to wake up with Kurt. We're doing that. Just things you can use to stimulate small to big. How do you get from small to big? Well, you're going to seize your week and not just let each week happen. Because did you know that next week is 1/52nd of next year? Your next week, is that not a small beginning of a year as a whole? Why would you not seize the week and make it be an amazing week so that small beginning, the commitment you're going to make this week happen, not let it happen, become amazing? And I can't guarantee you're going to set records and all those kind of things. What I can tell you is that we're going to punch you with a text, not punch you in the face. It's a text that kind of functions as a cattle prod that says, poke, poke, poke. Monday morning, Kurt's thinking about you. He's thinking about us. He's thinking about God's principles. And one of those is, if you want this week to be amazing, you can't let it happen. You have to make it happen. If you let it happen, I mean, what we witnessed last week, the world has an evil agenda, guys, that's just not good. And if you let things happen, you're going to let the world pour its ideology and its plans into you, and it's going to be laziness and slothfulness and just not good. So let's wake up and seize it, okay? So let's do that. We have I don't have another event for you in September because of conference, except the 29th. We're doing this with Tamara Sachs, okay? And then our worship gathering in Indy, we want you to come. Yeah, it's $10, but that just offsets a fraction of the travel, AV, room expense that I pay to make that event available to everybody. If you haven't got $10 and you just want to come, send Hope a message, send me a message, and we'll make sure you get in. It's not about the money. That helps give us a head count, how many chairs we need to set up, and you can register at makealife.com/worship. And then I wish I could tell you guys. You have no idea how excited. I was texting with Travis, our CEO, this weekend. And getting off the phone with him, I feel like he's 9 months pregnant. And he's going to give birth to a new vision, a new plan, a new product, a new foundation of where we're going to go for the next 10 to 15 years. I think that I really feel like you're going to feel like that's being given birth. It's like a scheduled C-section for Friday morning in Indy. I can't wait. I can see it and feel it and hear it in his voice. I know about the new product category that we're going into. I've seen the new branding and things that are going to paint a better and different picture and image of our product in the very near future. I see our technology getting fixed and people coming back. Somebody got 12 customers last week that hadn't placed an order or done anything in 2 years. They got frustrated with the technology and they got sidelined. And I stayed in touch with them and talked to them. And, yeah, I said, yes, it's been hard. But, we had a lack of leadership in our company and a lack of leadership in this nation. It's a wonder this nation even exists with the leadership we had the first 4 years of this decade. It's literally a wonder that another nation didn't just take us over because there was no leader to defend us. We lived in a leaderless world. It's been hard. And the presence of that evil is still out there. But there's leadership back in place. I mean, Travis Garza is a man who's worthy to take the mantle from Jay. The ones that tried before were not worthy to put a toe in his shoes. But we are in a place of fresh starts, new beginnings. And I can just tell you that just in the last 90 days, the new person doing our IT and technology, it's amazing. If you didn't watch the digital update, make sure your NMD gives you the link, gets it to you. I put together a PDF that all of our NMDs can send you with the recording, the slides, the updates. Amazing things that we've been asking for are happening. And the new product, those that Amy's asking the question, if you're in Indy, you'll be able to get it there at a discount. If you're not in Indy, the plan is, from my understanding, there'll be a link and you should be able to order it Monday morning, the 29th. Okay. I don't know I don't know the exact details, but there will be, my understanding, a link for those that aren't there to get it before the month's over. Okay. All right. Last but not least, I am here, guys. I'm not on a plane or living next door to all of you constantly, but we have to learn how to use these platforms that we have to reach out. And I want to be if you need somebody to close, to validate, or to coach you through a strategic moment, that's what we're here for, okay? So be blessed, totally blessed. Can't wait to see some of you, give you a hug, see some of you in a black tie at the gala next week. And, Carol's coming home to watch Georgia beat Alabama. I hope. I'm going to miss that game, but I gave my tickets to my son because I'm going to be totally committed with you guys in Indy. And I'm jealous that Carol's coming home. But you know what? I'm going to watch it on TV. And it's going to be an amazing weekend. We're going to have an amazing weekend of launching our new product, hearing Travis give birth to our new vision and where we are as a company for the next 10 to 15 years. And you're going to be excited. I know you are. Okay. Have an amazing weekend, amazing week. Thanks for joining us. Share this. And here's a challenge. Let's try and get, everybody get 10 new people that'll commit to seizing their week instead of just letting the week happen. What if you could get 10 people that could join us in taking every Monday morning and saying, I'm going to make this week awesome. Just get them to text wake up to that number. Everybody get 10. I'm not making money off this, but I think we can create a movement of people that take their week seriously, intentionally, proactively. I'm tired of people just reacting to the crap the world gives us. Let's make a difference, okay? See you later. God bless.